everyone, and welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John. I'm coming to you with a few things today that need to be talked about. And I'm sure you've all been watching the news, and you know what the big news is today is still about the bridge that collapsed and things of that nature. And we'll get into that a little bit, but I'm going to ask you a question right now. Are you all worried? If not, you should be, because there's a lot going on, starting with the fact that the White House has been entertaining Mr. Obama, has been meeting in the family dining room with Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, strategizing how they can stop the bleed of Joe Biden's numbers in this upcoming election. They're extremely worried about what's going to end up in November and what's going to happen throughout the election cycle that's taking place between he and Obama. And now RFK Jr. had a press conference yesterday where he introduced Nicole Hannigan, which is going to be his vice presidential choice. Marvelous 38-year-old lady that is quite educated and quite smart, gave a good acceptance speech to that. I worry a little for RFK Jr. that he's picked a solid Democrat to run with him that is now going to be an independent because she's leaving the Democratic Party, according to what she said yesterday, as did RFK Jr., because his own party turned their back on them. And running as an independent, he's still fighting the good fight as far as trying to get protection from Secret Service, which every potential candidate in the past has been afforded, but Biden administration is keeping that from him, which is not a good situation in any stretch of the means, given his family history. And the fact that they're having these breakfast and lunch meetings and these get-togethers in the White House indicates to me that Obama is fully in charge of what's going on with Joe Biden on a daily basis. And if you have any doubts to this, think about just the last month now where he has taken an active part in his campaigning, number one, and then he's making foreign visits to 10 Downing Street, and God knows what other countries he's been in to talk to the leaders about, because we're not privy to that, because mainstream media will cover up everything that Joe Biden and Barack Obama do and have covered up for years. Mainstream media can no longer be trusted. Just look at the fact that the meltdown of the mainstream media over the fact that NBC tried to get Ronna McDaniels on as an advisor on the Republican side. Listen to what Rachel Maddow had to say, and she has forced the NBC upstairs people to cancel the contract that they were negotiating with her. What does that tell you? They had a meltdown and continue to melt down over the fact that the appellate court cut the fine to Donald Trump in half. Because they wanted to tell you, see, he's broke, he's a liar, he did this, and he can't do that, and he doesn't have any money. This is what their platform was, and it got turned on them, and now they're crying. They're melting down over this, and now they melted down over the fact that Ronna McDaniels, who is a rhino at best, just like her relative out of Utah is, and they melted down to a point where Rachel got her own way and got it canceled. This is what we have to put up with mainstream media today. These people come in, sit in a makeup chair for hours, rehearse what they're going to say. They're actors. They're nothing more than actors. They're not journalists. They're not in depth in anything other than their own pockets and their own lies. They believe their own lies. And the fact of Rachel Maddow, that's a whole different story. How the heck this woman can make the kind of money that she makes to give out false information and to run down people of good character because they don't fit her narrative. It's crazy. Now let's go to how do you birth a conspiracy theory? Here's a classic example. This cargo ship runs into the bridge, destroys the bridge, and within minutes, not maybe hours, Pete Buttigieg shows up to survey the damage. Like, this idiot knows anything about anything, and he was the mayor of a small city and couldn't even run that properly, and he's going to assess the damage. And then he meets at the White House with Biden, and Biden comes out and says, within hours, the federal government will just replace that bridge. Not who's at fault. This container ship is carrying the flag of Singapore. They should be responsible. It's like when Ohio had the train derailment. It took Biden a year to get there to say anything about it. But immediately, Norfolk Southern was held responsible and said that they had to clean that mess up. So now we're going to take an infrastructure budget that he's going to get through and dump a ton of money into a failing city of Baltimore. But Biden says we're Baltimore strong. Really? It's one of the worst run cities with a high crime rate that you can look at. We'll dump infrastructure money into that, and I just can't wait to see how much of that money will go into actually replacing the bridge. It's mind-boggling why he could answer that so quickly, and it took him a year to get out to the poor people in Ohio that lost their homes and can't drink the water there to this day. He didn't want to go. He was forced to go because he's running for re-election, and he shows up a year later. So you want to birth conspiracy theories? Just go on to Twitter, X, or Rumble, or any of the, and listen to the people coming up with these ideas. Now, I will tell you this. I did listen to people that are very schooled in maritime things of this nature, and several people that I trust have said, where was the pilot boat? If the pilot was aboard, where was the Coast Guard when the pilot said that they lost power? You have to understand something about these ships. They all have secondary steering mechanisms in case that would happen. Why wasn't that used? I'm not saying it was done intentionally, but some people are. So conspiracy theories are churning, and we'll hear several wild explanations of this, and people are beginning to say this was no accident. Now, I will be honest with you. The first thing I thought of when I heard this in the morning of was, oh, here we go. This is the first one. Because our infrastructure is at risk right now with the amount of illegal immigrants, refugees that have broken through the southern border and are all over this country that we've placed in strategic cities. And I'm afraid that they're there to do damage. And a lot of people feel like I do about this, and I'm sure if you're not worried about it, you need to worry about it because it could come to a town near you real quick. Whether or not this had any play at all in what happened to the Scott Key Bridge, we don't know. But I'll tell you this, they said that the anthem that he wrote for the United States, Francis Scott Key, they named this bridge after, and they've already said that that song that was written for this country was racist. Did that have anything to do with it? I don't know, but as I said, you just laid a bed of fresh fertilizer for conspiracy theories with this happening, and what's going to happen next and where, we don't know. But we have to stay ever vigilant in our own cocoon of our small towns and big cities. If you're in a big city today, especially a blue city, you better have your wits about you at all times because it's not safe. The refugee problem is not brought in great people in some cases. They didn't bring in people to help society. They brought in people to drain our society. They didn't bring in people to replace missing workers. Well, in some cases, they are. Some cases, they're pushed into slave labor or prostitution or things that are unbelievable to you and I, but it's happening. And it's not fair to happening to those people, but they don't belong here because they didn't come in the right fashion as our ancestors did through Ellis Island and other areas of embarkation that this country welcomed people in, the tired, the poor, and the hungry. These people are coming across with expensive clothing, expensive tennis shoes, and being given transportation, cell phones, and in some cases, driver's licenses in some states are doing that. And now they want to give them voting rights and gun ownership rights. Why don't we just build a militia inside our country? That's what somebody is hoping to do, and they're going to get away with it because we need to be scared. We need to be frightened enough to make sure that our politicians are held to the fire on this. But then it's hard because you have a corrupt White House, you have a corrupt people in our Congress and in our Senate. You want to talk about all these investigations that they're having and impeachment investigations? How about we take the 12 or 13 people that are sitting in Congress that came in with nothing and are millionaires inside of a 2-year period? Let's just look at AOC. Start with her. Couldn't afford to rent an apartment when she came to Washington, and now she's worth $1 million? Come on. Where do you go and get that kind of a job? It's frustrating, and it's dangerous to know that we have corruption in the seat of our government. And now you've got Obama and Pelosi plotting with Biden at the family dining room on how they're going to take this next election and win it by hook or crook. And guess what? You look at those players and you know it's going to be by crook. I'm sorry. I believe that they're underway with a plan. They're trying to kill Trump off. And they've tried everything in the book 3 ways from Sunday to get him on the legal side of things. And now I don't know what they're going to come up with next, but they're not going to stop persecuting this man. There's no way. RFK Jr., had a press conference yesterday and announced his vice president pick. This young lady is very, very bright. She has a lot of good intentions, spoke well. If you compare her to the vice president that we currently have, she sounds like a Rhodes Scholar next to that one. But anyway, I worry, as I said earlier, I think she's still a Democrat. I don't think that saying that she's leaving the Democratic Party to go independent is one thing, but I'm not even sure that RFK Jr. really did leave the Democratic Party. However, the Democratic Party turned on him, and they'll turn on her now. But she's a millionaire, and that bothers me a little bit that he would go for somebody like that. But she's young, she's 38 years old, and she probably could bring a lot of votes out of that generation of people. We need youth. You have two old men running again for president, and I think a lot of people are really, really looking at the fact that I don't think, and a lot of people that I know don't think, that Joe Biden can make 4 more years. And unless it's an act, which I wouldn't put past him, the I don't remember act. I can't really remember that. But we'll see what comes up, but I'm extremely worried about this country and this election being shut down at the 11th hour for some excuse that happened, some terrorist attack or whatever, that they can declare martial law on and hold back the election if it's not going as well as Obama would like to see it go or Biden would like to see it go. Because we know that Obama's behind O'Biden. O'Biden is what I call him. There's no difference there. They want to fundamentally change the America that we know and we grew up in to a socialist state for the benefit of the dark side. If you think about it, I think that hell has released the demons into the world. And most of them are come through our southern border. And we're not waking up to that fact. Some are, some are not. Our politicians should have done something to stop it, but no. They want it open. It's still wide open. There are 4,000 to 6,000 people a day coming through that border, unchecked, unvetted, and provided transportation to the state of their choice where they were told to end up, so when the phone call comes, they can act. Not all of them, but trust me, it's not Mexicans that are coming through. God bless the Mexicans because they come in. We wouldn't have fruit and vegetables in some cases if we didn't have them. I don't mind that. I don't mind that they come in and make money and send it home. What I mind is that people that empty out the jails in Venezuela and send us the bad, and Central America and Guatemala and all these other countries that send us their worst people to come through this border. And now you have this kid with the TikTok telling you straight-faced that don't leave your home because if you do, we're going to take it. And we're going to squat in it and you can't get us out. And guess what? Most of these states have laws that you can't do anything about it. Because we've handcuffed our police and we've handcuffed our courts and packed the courts with people that are so liberal that you can get away with anything. Look at the smash and grab artists and how much time do they spend in jail? What do we do when we catch one? We release them so they can go murder a young lady that's in nursing school. And it's not just one, it's a lot of them that are committing crimes and not paying for them. Our court systems have failed. Our school systems have failed. And we continue to let these people pour in here, most of them that don't even speak the language. And we think what? That we're going to get them to vote so the Democrats can stay in power? Look what they have done. And now everybody, Gavin Newsom, he's so handsome and has a great head of hair, and he's over visiting with foreign dignitaries. Like he's running. This guy, you want to see what he's capable of? Look at the country. Look at California. Look what he's done to it. You want him to do this to the country? It's craziness. But this is what we're getting on the liberal side. They're going to get their way. Ask Rachel Maddow. She can get rid of somebody that her parent company hired. She lies on a daily basis, straight-faced to you, about anybody that may be affiliated with Donald Trump or any Republican or any MAGA person. They're all bad in her estimation. So conspiracy theories run wild. Here it is Easter week when we're supposed to have peace in our heart and love for one another. And it gets worse. Not a good thing. That's a lot to deal with. But my thing today is, if you're not worried on a daily basis, you need to be. You need to watch out for your children. You need to watch out for what's being forced upon us. And you have to say, hell no. Because we cannot succumb to the avenue that they want to push us down. They've done a good job so far. They've destroyed several cities that were beautiful cities. They've run them into the ground. These blue states are unbelievably corrupt in their court systems. Look at New York. Of course, the left melts down when an honest court says, okay, that fine is excessive, let's half that. And still we're looking at a $175 million bond that had to be put up by Donald Trump while he's trying to run. This is election interference at its best. Can the country not see this? It's not good. We're not helping the situation by continuing to elect politicians that are in it for three things: money, power, and re-election. This is what they're on about. This is all they care about. And there are a few good ones in there, and God bless the ones that are in there crying in the wilderness, such as Rand Paul. He's the only one that seems to get it, and he keeps telling us what's going on in those halls, and no one's paying attention. We need to pay attention. We need to work this into our voting thoughts. We need to listen to these candidates and vote for people who have the solutions to the problems that exist, not canned speeches about what could be. Tell us how to fix it. Tell us what you're going to do to fix it, and then we'll give you a vote. Career politicians such as Joe Biden will never be any different. The reason Donald Trump came in and kept his promises is he wasn't a politician. and he's still not really a politician, but he has been in the fray, and he understands now better than he did the last time what these people are capable of and what these people are not capable of. And you have to go with that. And you have to understand that, is he the best choice? I don't know. But he's the only choice right now against Biden, because they're not going to let RFK Jr. even have Secret Service protection, never mind support anybody. He made a good pick with his VP candidate, I believe, but I think she's a little young, and I think that the trust factor in an unknown doesn't lend itself to working this time around, but she may have a great future in politics if that's where she wants to be. But this woman is a millionaire. She doesn't need this. But thank God there's a spoiler in there that may siphon off some of the disillusioned Democratic voters that are abstaining right now from voting in the primaries anyway. And if that happens in the major election, it could be disastrous for him, Joe Biden. First of all, this man is not capable of doing what he is. There's people behind him that are running the show, and we can't see it. It's the curtain. Pay no attention to the people behind the curtain. Just listen to Joe. Joe can't string 3 sentences together unless they pump him up on something and put it on a teleprompter in front of him. We all know that. We all see that. And they want to tell you how great the State of Confusion address was with him, because he was so forceful and so brilliant. I didn't see it that way. Most of my friends didn't see it that way. And they had to pump him up on something, because this is not the Joe we see on a daily basis. On the campaign trail, he has to have Jill on his side constantly so he doesn't fall down. He can't find his way off a stage. We see this every day. How can his numbers even be as high as they are, which are not very high? Anyway, there's the political side of things. The conspiracy theories will abound about this boat or the ship hitting the bridge. There'll be more and more stuff coming out about it. There are some discrepancies in what I saw and what people in the maritime business are reporting now. If they're ever allowed to go on mainstream media and tell you this, I would look to YouTube for somebody that is knowledgeable to explain this to us so we can know the truth about it. But they cover the truth about everything. You can't trust mainstream media any longer as we used to be able to. And that's a shame, but here we are. 2024, with an election looming 6 or 7 months away, and things are starting to happen that are not very good for not only because now they have an excuse to pump prices up because we're not shipping anymore, and we can't get anything into the harbor of Baltimore now until the bridge problem is cleaned up, because navigation through that area has been hindered. So what goes up? The price of the goods that you need on a daily basis, just like what happened when the ports in California got backed up. But here we have a Secretary of Transportation that basically is an idiot and doesn't know what he's doing, should never have been put in that job. But that promise was made to him to get him off the stage running against Joe Biden in those primaries. They bought him off, gave him a job he's not qualified to do. But half of the carnival cabinet that sits there are not qualified in what they do. Look at the Secretary of Health. Oh, my God. We're the laughing stock of the world. You have a fat old man dressing up like a woman, and they make him an admiral in the health department. You think that's not a carnival show? We used to, as youths, have to pay at a carnival to see the kind of people that are sitting in that cabinet. Just look at Karine Jean-Pierre. She just carries the lies to the press corps, and they beat her up, and she doesn't have any answers, and then the next day she comes out with the same lies. It's craziness, and we're watching it in real time. Enough of that. Let's talk about Easter. The upcoming Easter is upon us. Holy Thursday tomorrow. Start. Most Christians will be doing the Stations of the Cross and things of that nature that should put some peace and love back in your heart, and understand that Jesus Christ gave up his life to redeem us. And what are we doing now? We're turning our back on religion for the sake of diversity. So with that, I have to say, I wish you all the rest of this day to be peaceful, mindful, and educational to you as we worry. And if you're not worried, you probably need to be, because we're in a little trouble here, and it's coming music time. So I'm going to say, have a great rest of Wednesday, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.